Hello and welcome everyone. Get into another video. Today's video we'll talk about the top teams in the Open Great League. This is the last week of the season, so I went on a deep dive into the meta. What are the most popular teams? What are the most meta teams? What are the strongest teams that do exist in the Go Battle League right now, especially in the Open Great League, and try to deliver it to you in one video. So if you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe. If you are here, don't forget to like the video. So Open Great League in a nutshell are like all these stuff, plus if you can see on top of me, we have Diggersby, Fortress, Clodsire, Giratina, Altered, Lapras, Gligar, Jellicent, Primeape, Dusclops, Jumpluff, Gligar, Mandibuzz, Golisopod, and Cresselia Galarian. But the most important Pokemon here to have, I do believe, for the end of the season or for the last week is Giratina Altered, sitting at number 1, because it's a new Pokemon and people still haven't figured out the best and phenomenal way to play against it. And I was like, oh, I know, I just use Bastiodon. It's not just that what I mean. What I mean is, it's a new Pokemon, so people haven't gotten used to play against it. So that's why it's good to use it in that regard. But if we go to the top performing Pokemons, like you see this list, not everything exists here because these are like the meta ones. But this one, I call it the condensed meta, what like people specifically use the most. And like you can see that Ferret is everywhere, Marowak is everywhere, Moltres is everywhere. Something like Jumpluff, Diggersby, Cresselia, Lapras. These Pokemons do exist way more than the others. So that's why we're going to talk about the top performing team, not just like the top meta teams. And the first Pokemon we'll talk about is Giratina Altered, the Shadow one. Someone's like, why don't you show the Shadow when the Pokemon is supposed to be Shadow? So, okay, I took your advice, I took your suggestion, so I appreciate your feedback. And guys, by the way, for the next season, if you guys have any feedback, leave it in the comment section below. We have Shadow Giratina with Fortress and Diggersby. It's basically because Giratina is weak to normal and fairy, so you need an anti-fairy, anti-normal, and I think Fortress is the best out of everything that exists. You could say Scizor as well, but the thing is, you can't have two, like Giratina and Scizor. It's just, you need shields for both, you know? And both are like kind of what you want to focus on. Like it's difficult to maintain 2 stars in one team, right? That's actually a fact. And you can find that in sport. So why don't we just implement that fact in esports? So Diggersby is one option. You could have Lapras. I've used Dusclops. I've used Lapras. I've used Azu as the third. And they are all like very, very good. And someone else, Briggsy, used Blastoise with sunglasses. So if you're looking for more teams, I have 3 videos in the channel. I recommend watching all of them if you want to play Shadow Giratina, because all of these teams are good. All of these teams are strong. I know someone who hit legend with this team, and I've climbed with this team, and this team is also another legend team. The second strongest Pokemon in the current meta, I do believe that Cresselia. And Cresselia, like in the beginning of the season, was completely out of the meta. But in the latest Great League Cup, it made a comeback because people stopped using it. And people stopped even because it doesn't exist, so people don't counter it anymore. And then it just shined again because there isn't that many counters okay? There wasn't that many people who care about countering it, so it becomes so safe again for Cresselia to be good. And I went and checked what are the popular Cresselia teams, and they were like Shadow Scizor and Azu or Jellicent with Moltres. So with the Shadow Scizor, you lead Scizor, you safe swap Cresselia. With the Moltres Jellicent, you lead Moltres, you safe swap this or this. It's up to you. And speaking of Moltres, I found that Moltres was very popular last time I played a Great League, and I was leading Kanto Marowak, and in one set I played against Moltres. I'm like, what are the main Moltres teams? And I found that Moltres loves the Drapion. They kind of do make a good, cute couple together. And the third was like between Dusklops. Hopefully I did not butcher it. I think it's not Dusknoir. I think it's Dusclops and Gastrodon. Those two are like makes a perfect third wheel for those two. Let's be real. A Pokemon I did not expect to see was actually Primeape, and Primeape, the Shadow one. Okay, don't use the non-Shadow, the Shadow one. Why the Shadow one? Because it's so good into so many situations where you just 2 shield it, just Rage Fist everything. 2 shield, Rage Fist, everything. The main popular team with Prime Ape is Jumpluff, Shadow Prime Ape, Blastoise. So you lead Jumpluff and you play the 0 shield against everything. And then you just try to get a shield advantage for Prime Ape and then, for Annihilate. And then Annihilate will just sweep the entire game after, because the Pokemon just does so much fast move damage. So imagine a boosted or a double boosted fast move damage. How insane that, how insane that would hit. Mandibuzz. Mandibuzz is actually very popular in the meta right now because it was one of the safest Pokemons to use. Because something to mention here, the main popular lead this season was Scizor, and then people started using Fire to counter the Scizor. And there isn't that many Pokemons that could beat both. So one of the few Pokemons that could beat both is actually Air/Mandibuzz. So that was the main reason why people actually used Mandibuzz. You can use even Snorlax. I think both are ideal. But if you use Mandibuzz, what is the team? You can lead Scizor, Safe Swap, Mandy, or Dusclops. Or you could lead Malamar, okay? And just play out the lead no matter what they lead. And it's like an ABA type of a team. You could even lead Mandibuzz, to be honest. And another thing why Mandibuzz is good is actually Ferret. Ferret is just so annoying. And speaking of Ferret, the best safe swap currently sitting at like literally nothing even close how safe Ferret is. The main popular teams I found like Ferret with Jumpluff and Diggersby. You lead Jumpluff, you safe swap Ferret. Or Scizor, Ferret, Jellicent. You lead Scizor here, you safe swap Ferret, and you have a Jellicent as the anti-fire or the anti-fairy. Not fairy, sorry. The anti-fire or the anti-ground. The next one is Kanto Marowak. Kanto Marowak is by far my second favorite Pokemon to use this season. And I've been using Dusknoir the most. And if Dusknoir fails me, I just use Kanto Marowak, to be honest. The Pokemon is just so freaking good, man. And so spammy and hits so hard. So why not, right? It's Shadow, by the way. And the team I used to hit Legend last season was Talonflame, Gastro, Kanto Marowak. It's still relevant, still good. The second team I found that it's actually Greninja with Kanto Marowak and this guy. Moving into Lapras, I wouldn't say the strongest, the new Azu. Let's just say the new Azu. Lapras is so good because of just the amount of bulk that it has. And you can never tell what the third move is. It's like sometimes Ice Beam when you have a grass Pokemon. It's a Skull Bash when you are using it, when you counter swap it with Azu. Like, you can never tell the third charge move. Like, are they running Ice Beam or Skull Bash? But I believe at high MMR, everyone runs Ice Beam. Why Ice Beam? Because if opponent has Azu, you just chip and then split the damage. And once they are in farmable range, you just go to Lapras. You do the same against the safe Lapras. You have to chip it and then you go to your own. And it's not that horrible of a matchup. It's playable as long as you chip. And Lapras makes a good core with Dark-type Pokemons, and because you need an answer to the opposing Dark, right? So some people use Drapion, but I find that Regidrago is actually the better Dark to use with Lapras, because whatever Lapras like struggle against the Dark, and nothing is better to beat the Dark types than a Dark type with the Dragon Breath, which does neutral damage and resist all the Dark type damage. But remember, you could also use Gliscor as the anti-dark because it has Fury Cutter and so spammy. It's a good fast move. And moving into a fire type Pokemon, I think this Pokemon was one of the scariest, as Shadow type Flosion with an extra Incinerate just beat everything in the game as long as they don't Mud Slap. It's so good of a Pokemon, to be honest, and it just delivers so much damage. It's just the Incinerate damage is just insane, man. This Pokemon is so good. And I found there were like two different teams with it. The main one was actually Jumpluff Ferret, where like you just use those two to stall, like to force opponents to use shield. And then similar to Prime Ape, you just shield this guy. The second one with Lapras and another grass. I think the other grass is actually Jumpluff. Jumpluff is better, but you could also go with you could even use Ferret. You could also go with Jumpluff. It's up to you as the third type. And now moving into my favorite Pokemon this season, which is Dusknoir. I've been using this Pokemon for 2 seasons, and so surprisingly, people haven't actually caught up on this Pokemon. I think this Pokemon is insane. It's too good. Okay, you have to have the Shadow. Why it's too good is just does so much pressure, and it's willing to win so many leads in the neutral matchups. But you have to drop some shields. Like Like, remember when I'm telling you, like, I always keep making reference here that Scizor and Typhlosion were, like, the most popular stuff. I was using Dusknoir as a Pokemon that can beat both. But I have to invest in shields, but hey, if I can maintain alignment, that's an easy way to play out the game. Now, what teams did I use? I actually used Dusknoir with Lapras and Tinkaton, with Lapras and Moltres. So, but I found that the team, like, nobody actually copied my team, which is good. But the main one, I found that people were using Araquanid and the Gligar as the two anti dark, because like you struggle against dark, or you could go with this Pokemon, Carbink, because Carbink is going to be huge next season. Now, moving into Gligar. Gligar is such a beast this season. It performs that as a Pokemon that nobody cares to counter, but somehow it can still counter so many Pokemons. Now, as long as you don't have it against Scizor, you should be in a good situation. Araquanid isn't bad. I found this team quite good and very easy, very noob friendly, I would say. Araquanid, Diggersby, Cresselia. It's three bulky Pokemons, and they do really well together. Like, it's actually quite interesting of a team, and it's a good team. It struggles a bit into Ferret, but honestly, Diggersby is fine into Ferret, and this Pokemon is also fine into Ferret. If you want to have like a harder counter to Ferret, you can just go Cresselia and keep debuffing them. And now, speaking of the beast of this season, Scizor. I don't know. Okay, it must be Shadow. And the best team, I actually think it's actually with Moltres, it's good, and Diggersby. Moltres Diggersby is one of the best Scizor team. I think we've provided so many Scizor teams this, like Cresselia, Azu. So any of these teams work. Gastro, Moltres. Why Gastro, Moltres? Because we are trying to find two anti-fire, honestly. One of them... because this guy and this Pokemon also destroy the grass, we can have a ground type here and there. That's how team building work, right? Now, as far as Regidrago, I would say Regidrago makes a good core with a Tinkaton, with any anti-fairy Pokemons. So I don't like ABB teams, so that's why we're having a kind of ABC teams. So like we have Diggersby or Gastro as the soft answer to everything in this meta. I mean, they don't beat anything, but in neutral matchups, those two Pokemons perform really well. Now the next Pokemon, the Mouse. The Mouse isn't quite meta, but it's probably the most annoying Pokemon to play against this season, because it just has a play against everything, and once it has energy lead, it's kinda tough to come back from. Because it's weak to ground, so you might have a Ferret and a grass Pokemon. That's like the ideal situation. Now, Tinkaton. This is actually the team I use. Tinkaton, Dusknoir, and Moltres. I've seen people using Tinkaton with Diggersby and Mandibuzz, but that team is just too bulky and not for me. I don't like slow teams. Sable Guy. I feel like people just don't use Sableye as much. But if you want to use Sableye, you have to use a Shadow one, to be honest. Why Shadow one? Because you just do so much damage, so much more damage, and you do like more oppressive, and people would have to respect your charge moves even more. Fortress is kind of a niche pick in this, even though PvP says it's number 2. The problem about Fortress is that it doesn't beat Scizor, so it's like, why am I using, like the second best Steel Bug? Why don't I just use Scizor and do even better? So it's similar to Scizor teams, Diggersby, Jumpluff, or Jellicent, Gastro. Now, as far as Dragonite, I think whatever you want to use with the Dragonite, Giratina just does it better. So that's like the main thing. Like, Giratina just does it better. So that's the main thing. And yeah, that's pretty much it for today. So thank you so much everyone for watching. If you made it this far, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't. And best of luck with grinding to the highest milestone you could this season. And yeah, thanks so much for watching. I will catch you on the next video. Peace.